Way Home in theaters. Well, just got back like an hour and a half ago. I had to have some dinner real quick and stuff, but it was so good. But yeah, this video is going to be a mix of reacting to the predictions that I posted yesterday, as well as just reviewing the film. So let's start with a non-spoiler review. The film was so good. No Way Home was just awesome. Like, I loved it the whole way. There was great humor, great action. I was like really engaged with it the whole time. And just, yeah, it was just so good. Honestly, I'd say it's definitely like the best live action Spider-Man movie so far. I mean, it definitely like one-upped Far From Home. And personally, like I really loved Far From Home, probably even better than Homecoming. And then, you know, it was just so good even compared to, we just watched all of the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies in a marathon. It was just like, so good. Since I did recently watch all the Spider-Man movies, I might make a ranking video sometime soon. I mean, this one's gonna be at the top, but you might be interested in seeing the rest of the rankings. Let me know in the comments if that is something you're interested in seeing. Now, here is your warning. The rest of the video is going to have major spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home, and I am gonna start by reacting to the predictions that my husband, my sister, and I made in my last video. As you can see from quick glance, I didn't actually do that well on my official predictions in my last video. I got 2 out of 5. Between me, Aaron, and Rebecca, Aaron won because he got 3 out of 5 and Rebecca got none of them right. Sorry about that, and sorry I made you be in my video. I also added my other sister, Katrina. I shouted out to my Discord server for everyone else to make their predictions as well, and she chimed in. By the way, if you want to chat with us in my Discord server, the link to join is in the description. So actually, really, she won because she got 4 out of 5 right. Nice job. But now let's actually go through each of those questions we made predictions about and discuss what actually happened in the film. So first of all, the big, huge first question was, will Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield be in the film? And yes, 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 they were, and it was so, so good. The theater totally went crazy when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man showed up, and pretty much just as crazy again when Tobey Maguire was there too. I mean, I wasn't surprised, even though my official prediction was that they wouldn't be in it. I kind of knew, I saw stuff. I mean, I really just didn't want to be disappointed if they weren't in it, which I find funny because that was like MJ's whole thing in the film, wasn't it? Expect disappointment so you won't be disappointed. Honestly, the interactions between the 3 different Spider-Men was like the best part of the movie. It would have been such a missed opportunity, and I'm so glad they went for it. It was fun how like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man kept on calling Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man amazing, and like references to differences in their different universes, like Tom Holland's Spider-Man fought Thanos in space, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man somehow shoots webs out of his actual wrists. Also that one part with Ned where he's like, do you have a best friend? And he's like, he died in my arms after he tried to kill me. There were just so many good moments with all the different Spider-Man. It was great. I do remember when Aaron and I first saw the most recent trailer, the part that has like MJ falling, and I remember he said, if Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man doesn't save her, that would be such a missed opportunity. Oh my gosh, he totally called that. That happened. That was great. That was a great little, like, redemption and, like, sweet moment. While we're talking about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield actually being in the movie, I totally forgot to make a question about whether there would be a Matt Murdock cameo in the movie, because I know there were a lot of people theorizing about that, and there was, so that was kind of fun little tidbit. It wasn't very long, but it was fun. My second question was, would there be a 6th villain to make a Sinister Six, and if so, who? Well, we thought that maybe Venom would be in it, or Mysterio would come back, but really, it just ended up being those 5 villains. I bet at some point they'll actually make a Sinister Six movie. They have teased plenty of villains in these movies so far, but I bet they'll want to do it with actual villains that are in like the MCU main universe. Speaking of the villains though, let's talk a little bit about that plot. It was an interesting plot line, and I know it was like hinted at in the trailer but not explained exactly, and I really liked it, like this idea that Peter Parker really wanted to save all of them so that they would have a chance to not end up being the bad guy when they go back, not dying at the hands of Spider-Man. And so, like, they needed help being fixed. It also did add some complexity because there were some of them that didn't want to be fixed, but, like, it was cool that Peter Parker fixed the inhibitor chip for Doc Ock, and then he was able to, like, become himself again. I actually at one point mentioned to my husband that maybe, like, Doc Ock would be helping them out in the end, and it totally happened. I mean, I think that specific conversation was about that one part where in the trailer there's a shot where you can see Lizard gets punched by nothing, and it's like, it's proof of the other Spider-Man being in the movie, but I'm like, well, maybe it's Doc Ock and they just don't want to reveal that he ends up turning and helping him in the end. But I mean, that specific clip, it definitely was, I think Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man edited out right there. Sometimes it was a little bit hard to follow which one was which in the end, so I'm excited to see that again to be able to keep track a little bit more. But anyway, the clip that made me think about it and say maybe Doc Ock does have kind of a redemption arc again. It didn't happen specifically in that clip, but it did happen in the end, so that was cool that I called that as well. Speaking of the villains kind of getting along with Peter Parker, it was interesting that Sandman and Electro showed up at the same place, and Sandman was actually helping him at the beginning, and then his like loyalties were kind of shifting because all he wanted to do was go back home to his daughter. So, but also there was that whole fun part in the middle when they were all like gung-ho, you know, Peter's helping us out, we're all good guys now, but then Green Goblin. My husband said it was interesting that they chose to make him the big bad, but I totally think it makes sense. I mean, such a classic Spider-Man villain. We've seen 3 different versions of Green Goblin in the previous Spider-Man movies. Of course, like 2 of those were Harry Osborn, and one of which was very, very terrible. But yeah, I think it makes sense that that would be like, he'd be like the main bad guy. Speaking of Green Goblin, let's move to question number 3. Will someone close to Peter Parker die, and if so, who? I did not set myself up to be disappointed, and I ended up being sad. Because Aunt May is so sad. I don't know, like, Aaron predicted it, so, like, I'd kind of thought about it, so I knew it was a possibility, but it's still super sad, and they just wanted to, like, make you feel like she was fine, and then suddenly she wasn't. Oh. But I do love how they gave her the chance to be the one to tell Peter, with great power comes great responsibility. You know, tweaked a little bit, but to be in her own words. But that was really cool. And then also, that later in the movie, again, same quote, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is able to finish the quote. That was a really cool moment. Question number 4 that we predicted about was, would everyone know that Peter Parker's Spider-Man at the end of the film? And I predicted this one right. I said that no, they wouldn't know. However, I was totally surprised that at the end, like, the spell that they do to fix everything literally makes MJ and Ned and everyone forget that Peter Parker even exists. Not just forget that he's Spider-Man, but, like, forget who he is. That was kind of surprising to me. It'll lead up to some great stuff, I think, in the future. I know at the end it was trying to tease that he was gonna, like, tell MJ and Ned and just out of nowhere be like, so you guys don't know me, but I know you and we're best friends and I'm Spider-Man. But obviously I feel like it got to the point where the movie was wrapping up and it's like trying to tease that he's gonna do it, but then he doesn't do it. And I wasn't surprised that he didn't, because I feel like that's something that merits a whole lot more focus in, like, a future movie, like, not just the last 5 minutes of this one. But that was a nice twist at the end, and I feel like now they're kind of setting up Tom Holland's Spider-Man, MCU Spider-Man, to feel a lot more like a classic Spider-Man. I mean, where is Spider-Man without that anonymity? And I feel like the end, like, he's moving into his own apartment, making his own Spider-Man suit now, and all of this stuff is leading into him being able to be more of, like, that classic Spider-Man character, instead of being, like, a part of the Avengers and, like, that's the main part of who he is. I heard them announce that there's gonna be a whole nother trilogy, so I'm excited for those. And actually, I'm kind of glad. I really hope they do go for more of that, like, classic Spider-Man, because honestly, watching all of those old Spider-Man movies, especially The Amazing Spider-Man, which I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I love The Amazing Spider-Man, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is still terrible in my opinion, but that first one, I love Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and watching that one, I'm like, you know what? This is what the MCU Spider-Man is missing out on. It just, like, doesn't have that feeling, and I feel like they're gonna go towards that, and I'm excited for that. And then our 5th and last prediction question, I kind of just threw in there. I wasn't really thinking that this would happen, but the question was, would Peter go to different timelines, or would they just come to him? And they just came to him. He didn't go anywhere. I'm excited to see that happen in, you know, like the Into the Spider-Verse movies. That'll be fun. But yeah, this one was just in like the MCU main universe, so, but it was good. I'm just scrolling through to make sure I didn't miss anything that I jotted down real quick. It's tricky to get these reviews out so quickly because I don't have time to like write a formal script or anything, but I jotted down a few things based on like what my husband and I talked about in the car ride home, so. Oh, I forgot to talk about this when I was talking about the villains. I remember I heard somewhere that the villains weren't actually from like the actual same exact universes as the respective movies that the actors were pulled from. But it seems like that's not true. They were actually like the same characters, like same universe and everything. Like there were a few styling choices that were a little bit different, but they were still the same characters, and I think it was much cooler that way. They were able to make connections. A bunch of the villains knew who each other were, which was really fun. I think I was just confused by that part in the trailer where Doctor Strange says they all died fighting Spider-Man, and half of them didn't actually die in their respective movies. And then also there's some redesigns, like Electro looks different. He's more yellow instead of blue. Some of that's because of the arc reactor. Some of it's just a slight character styling choice redesign. But either way, they were the same characters, and it was great seeing them all interact as well. Just like with the multiple Spider-Man interacting. Oh, one more thing I have written down is about Ned doing magic. That was fun. I didn't expect that. And Doctor Strange acknowledges it too. I wonder where they're gonna go with that. I mean, at this point, does he even remember that? Like, how much of losing memory of Peter Parker affects other memories as well? I'm interested to see them explore that maybe in the future movies. The other thing was too, like when he made the sling ring for Andrew Garfield Spider-Man and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man to show up. At first I was confused. I thought he was actually like making a sling ring into the other universes. I'm like, what? And then they said that, oh, they came here like the villains did. Obviously, they know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. They are Peter Parker Spider-Man, so they just came over just like the villains, and then Ned did the sling ring to somewhere else, you know, in the right universe. Because yeah, that's not how sling rings work. That I don't think they can travel across the multiverse. And then the last thing I have to talk about is the credit scene. The mid-credit scene, we saw it connect up with Venom. I mean, it makes sense that they didn't like fully use his character in this film, but they teased it a little bit, and it did not go the direction I thought it was. He was just there trying to figure out what the heck was going on in this universe, and then he gets zapped back. Like, he doesn't really do anything, but some of Venom gets left behind. That was just like crazy. Something I am confused about though is like, why did he travel universes? He doesn't know Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Isn't that how the spell works? Is there even a Peter Parker or a Spider-Man in his universe? I don't know. I have a guess that maybe like in the future there will be, and he'll know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man at some point, and for some reason, instead of bringing like the current or future version of this character who knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man, it brought the past version of him. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's the best explanation I can come up with right now. And then post-credits, we didn't really have a post-credit scene, but we saw a trailer for Multiverse of Madness, and I am very excited for that film as well. Good to see Wanda. I'm excited to see where that goes. So yeah, to sum it up, No Way Home was great. I am so excited to see it again on Saturday. I really did love it. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Spider-Man No Way Home. And of course, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe, which you can do by clicking down there. Check out more of my videos. Our predictions from No Way Home are up top, and then underneath that is my playlist of all my Marvel videos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!